Hey everybody, coming at you from out in the wilderness with another exciting video. Now, not only am I on YouTube, but I'm also on Reddit Bushcraft and Reddit Survival subreddits. And I'm also on Bushcraft USA. Now, some of those places there, I kind of keep up to date with new gear choices and new things to try. Well, there's a company called BPS Knives, and it's a family owned and operated company, and they make handmade knives in the Ukraine. Now, all I've been hearing about lately on Bushcraft USA is about how great BPS knives are. So, you know, and then people talk about them, they bring them up all the time on Reddit. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, there's got to be something there to it. So I decided to take a look, and when I took a look, I couldn't make my mind up. So I got two of them, and one of them is a Scandi grind rat tail, and then the other is a full flat grind full tang. And I'm going to take the two and show them to you and then compare them, and I'm going to try to see if there's much of a difference in the two and which one I think I'll like better for what I do, you know, bushcrafting, camping, and you know, possibly if you ever need a survival knife. So let me get this backpack off and let's get the knives out and look at them and then put them through the paces. All right, y'all ready? All right, so I got us a nice place to sit down here. I'm gonna pull these knives out and we're gonna take a look at them. All right, so let's ease you down here. All right, this is the BPS BK06 camp knife. It's in this one is in 1066 carbon. It's got a Scandi grind. It's got a partial tang or a rat tail tang because the handle, it's a solid walnut handle. You can also get this in 5CR14 MOV stainless steel, but I opted for the carbon. So, because carbon will be good for carving. All right. Got a pretty square looking spine. I haven't got much experience with 1066, but it's carbon steel, so that's a good thing. The sheath was very tight when I first got it. You have to kind of wiggle it in to work it in. Now, the other one here, this is the Savage CSH. Now, the sheaths are pretty much identical, except for the color. The belt loops are the same, the length is the same, everything's the same. But that lends to the manufacturing of keeping them affordable. Now this thing is a full flat grind, and this is 1066 carbon steel only. Now normally I don't mess with full flat grinds very much because I do a lot of woodworking and curls and feather sticks and things like that. But a lot of people love full flat grinds, so I'm going to give this one a try. Now this handle is called bog oak. Isn't it cool? I've never heard of that before. Bog oak, and both of them are treated with the Danish oil. Let's pull these out here again and talk real quick. Now this one is currently sold out on Amazon. You can get it on eBay though for $44. Alright, so usually if it's sold out on Amazon, that's a pretty good sign. Now this one, you can actually get it, the manufacturer's website says $43, but you can grab this for $38 on Amazon, and it's still on there. And it is full tang. It goes all the way to the back side right there. All right. So now one of the things here, let me show you something here real quick. Let me set these down. Let's lift this back up. Now one of the things, people test knives, they do things with knives, and for me there's just certain requirements that a knife should have. And let's just talk real quick about the sheath to get it out of the way. The belt loop is plenty big enough, and it has a dangler, which is pretty good. I like that. Now, I don't carry a lot of them on my belt. I'll either attach them to my machete or I'll wear them around my neck. So now let's show you something right here with this. One of my requirements for the sheath. Now I'm holding the back of it. I'm not doing this to force it in until this. I'm holding it like this, so if it pushes all the way through, which chances are it won't, pushing it through. Now, if you want to wear it as a neck knife, to be safe, usually what I do is I'll take a cord lock with elastic. That way if it ever gets snagged on anything. And say I don't even use the dangler. I'll come through right here. Just like that. And then I'll feed this thing through just like that. Let's see if it hangs. Sometimes, okay, now see, this thing right here is kind of hanging at an angle because there's more handle up here, but that can be cured by hanging it from the dangler. Like I said, I don't usually hang it from the dangler, so let's try it from that. And if you can wear it as a neck knife, for me, that's pretty important. But these knives, they were talking on the internet, on Bushcraft USA and on Reddit, about how affordable these things are. And I'm going to call them affordable. I'm not going to call them cheap because they seem like really good quality. Okay, now there you go. That thing hangs no problem. And then when I'm hiking, I'll slide it in my shirt just like that. Or you can even put them in your pocket if you want to, like that. But usually I put it in between my shirt just like that. That way you can get it out and use it. Alright, now the first requirement of a knife for me is, if you're going to start a fire with a ferro rod, which most bushcrafters do, you like leaves and grass and pine straw and stuff. But the thing is, sometimes it's wet, so sometimes you have to make curls and feathers. So we're going to try both knives, and we're going to see how they do making curls and feathers. Alright? Because that is one of old Dave's requirements. So let's find some dry wood and see if we can do that. Okay, and I noticed there's a bunch laying around here, so I'm going to grab a piece and we're going to see how they shave curls. Alright, so I just randomly found a piece of wood laying on the ground. The bark is just about falling off of it. So, let's see how we do on making some shavings. Now let's start with the camp knife with the Scandi grind. Now not all wood is the same. You can make some shavings with it. It seems to curl pretty good. Well, not curl, but it's making shavings, but not all wood is the same. So now let's try something here. Let's do this. Break that off. And move up a little bit. Now let's see how the Savage full flat grind works. There's a knot there. Man, that wood's hard. It's making some curls. Alright, let's take a thicker piece of wood. Now people that... I don't like to baton knives. Some people like to baton them. I don't. I either baton a machete or I bring an axe for those kind of chores. So let's try this other piece of wood. Alright, let's try a piece of wood that has a sharp edge on it. Like that. Let's see if we can get some different feathers on it, or shavings. Remember, not all wood is the same. And this is just wood that I have picked up out here. And not all wood makes good feather sticks either. Some of them just makes curls that fall off on the forest floor. Alright, now, as you can see, I just made a pile of curls and some curls on here. So it does curl. Now let's flip it over to this side. We're going to try this knife. Oh man. Oh, look at that. That kind of skidded right there. It's just got a hard spot in the wood. Now the very outside of the wood really curled up nice. Let's try this other side here. That's pretty rotten. Let's try this one. See, some of this is curling up really good. Anybody with any kind of experience with this knows that all wood is not the same. Let's see how it just does on the outside. Oh, now that's nice right there. That is nice. Look at that. Those are ideal curls right there. Okay. I think the core of this wood is bad. So that thing did great right there. Now let's try this one. Oh, I wasn't in camera shot. Now these are making very different curls from that. These are making curls. See right there? It's actually curls. And these are making like bugles. The full flat grind made bugles. Alright, so that's that on those. That's pretty fascinating, because I was pretty much using it the same, but in conclusion, let me pull some of these out of the ground. The full flat grind made bugles, and then the Scandi grind made curls. It's pretty interesting. Alright, now the other thing, they pretty much both passed the test. They both make curls. So now the next part of the test is going to be, for me, will it make a dimple and a V-notch for a hand drill? Because for me, that is a requirement for a bushcraft survival type knife. So let's try that and see if they both do it. Alright. So we have a semi-flat piece of wood. What we want to do, try to flatten it out a little bit. It does pretty good on that. The camping knife does, BK06. Now let's try the Savage. How does it do for flattening things out? The back of that wood is a little bit harder than the front. It carves it, but it takes a little more effort. Now, let's see if we can do a dimple. Let me zoom you in. Wait a minute. There you go. Let's see if we can zoom you in here and do a dimple. You just want to go round and round straight in, just like that. And then once that dimple is the shape of the tip of the knife, then what you want to do is you want to lean the knife and cut that dimple bigger, just like that. Now that does flawlessly. Now let's try the camping knife. See how it does a dimple. Let's do it right here. Go straight in. Go round and round. Now this thing is actually cutting the dimple better. It cut it deeper quicker. Must have something to do with the Scandi grind. Oh yeah, that thing, it did it quick. See the dimple right there? Now for the notch, let's try this. What I usually do is I take it at an angle and I push it in and I push it in and wiggle just like that. Now that thing, all right, that thing did the notch flawlessly. Now let's try the other one. It's done good so far. Now it's taken longer with the full flat grind. There you go. There, it took a lot longer. Let's see. Now I'd say in conclusion on that one, for the dimple and the notch for a hearthboard, whether this is for a hand drill or a bow drill, I would say that this is a clear winner for me. I know this is a full tang knife, and this is just a partial tang, and it means a lot to a lot of people that do a lot of batoning. But with the curls and the feathers, I could take either one. They're about the same. I can make a hearthboard with this, but I think this one's the winner in this category. All right. So that's that. I'm gonna try to spin a stick on it real quick, and then we're gonna move to the third test to see which I like better. Seems like there's a hole right here. Yeah. Alright, now we got a couple of big leaves right here. Just out of curiosity, I want to see if I can get this thing smoking. Just out of curiosity to see if this wood is any good that I just happened to pick up off the forest floor. Yep, I got plenty of smoke. I think if I kept going, I might could get it. Anyway, this ain't a hand drill video, but to know that I can do the notch properly with either knife, no problem there. And with the spindle, you just cut a weed. Alright, so let's go on next to the pot holder or pot hanger. That's kind of another requirement for me. Alright, so normally what I will do for a pot hanger is I will take a long branch and just either find a fork in a tree to set it in, or just find a down tree to set it on. And then what I'll do is I'll carve the top of this flat, and then I'll carve a pot hanger right here. And this is just an old rotten piece of wood. I'll probably find a better piece of wood. That's about the right height right there, so I'm gonna find a better piece of wood about that length. But now, for the top of this thing, what I do, let's move you in so you can see what I'm doing here. I'll take a knife, and then normally what I'll do, you want to twist this a little bit so that the natural lay of it, so that it won't roll over one way or another. And once you find out where the stick wants to lay, then you're just going to eyeball the top of it, and then you're going to cut it flat. That thing did a great job right there, right out of the gate. Pretty flat. Then you want to kind of cut a little bit off the side. Cut a little bit underneath. I'm going to trim a little bit with the other one. The full flat grind. I did all this with the Scandi. Let's try this. Now say for just straight up carving, that does a pretty good job too. Now what you want to do is you want to put a dimple right in the very end of it. Because that dimple is what's going to keep your pot hanger from falling off. So both those did that chore pretty good. So now I'm gonna get my axe and go get the proper length stick for us to carve. Alright, so let's see if we can make a pot hanger. We're going to make a pot hanger notch on one end with this knife, with the BK06 camp knife, and then we're going to do the other end with the Savage. So what you want to do, beat it in, make an X, like this. Just like that. Alright, now I feel no wiggle in the handle, even though that's a rat tail tang. So what you want to do now is pop that out. Pop that out. Alright. Pop that out. Alright, so this is what it's going to look like so far. You got like two triangles. So now what you want to do is you want to carve just like this. Let me zoom in for those of you that aren't real extremely familiar with this. You want to carve in, give yourself a bunch of clearance here, and this seems to be doing it very easily. Alright, then you want to set the stick up at an angle like this, and then carve in from the side, and push that in at an angle, just like this. Alright, push that in at an angle, carve, push that in, carve. Alright, now when you got it like that, what you want to do now is carve deep to the inside. Carve out the middle. Carve a little bit more in here. I think I found a hard spot. And that's usually the way you want to do it, is you want to rock it back and forth. That's why that radius on the end of the knife is so important. Just like that. Alright, so that did it with, you know, about minimal effort. Gotta be careful slipping like that. That's why they make first aid kits. Alright, let's unzoom this thing. See what that end looks like. Now let's lift it up. Let's see. See how the pot hangs on it? Just like that. Now the bottom of this thing needs to be trimmed off a little bit. You don't want all that sharp point on there. But sometimes it's good to leave a little bit on there for strength. I usually do this with a combination knife and a folding saw. But I like to know if I can do it with just a knife. I may get rid of more of that in a minute. Anyway. So there's your pot hanger. Alright, now let's do the other end. Let's do the other end and see if we can get it to hang up here on this. I checked the length of it, and this stick is so heavy it was going to pull that down, so I went ahead and sawed a little bit off of it. I don't even know where I put it. I guess I threw it. Alright, so let's try, and let's see how the Savage does. Alright. We'll turn that up. Alright, let's see how it holds up. Now, even though this is a full tang knife, I would think that you could do more damage to a full flat grind by batoning like this. But we'll see. Well, this is not actually not batoning to me. This is more like splitting. And it's usually best to use this part of the knife and not up in here, because that's where most of the damage can occur. Especially if you're beating on it out here. The pressure's here and you're beating out here, you want to beat right above it. Alright. And then this part can be bad. See, this thing is ground so thin on the end that it makes me very nervous doing this. Let's try this. Put a little bit of a split in there. Split it in here. And see, sometimes that will help loosen it, especially if you have. Okay, now see that right there? I've started my two triangles. So what I want to do now, see, that does not push in as good as the Scandi grind. It cuts, yeah, but it doesn't push in as much, and it's the same piece of wood. See, that's not cutting as good. Now let's try something out of curiosity to see if there's a difference in the wood. Nope, it's not the wood, it's the knife. It's the full flat grind. Oh, I'm getting carried away. I'm supposed to be using this knife. Alright. Now if I was into skinning, if I was a trapper, I think the full flat grind would be a better knife. But for bushcrafting, I think the Scandi grind rules. See, that's taking a lot of effort. Well, let's try it this way. Let's try it like this, see if it makes it any easier. Now that does make it a little bit easier. Having to push down on it. But it's not taking real heavy cuts. Let's try this again just out of curiosity. Yeah. for wood carving. And see, they're both 1066. I really do think for wood carving, I think the Scandi grind is going to be a better choice. But, you know, that full tang is what sells. You know what I mean? Now let's see. Ooh, it's getting dark on me. Oh, I gotta unzoom. Let's pull up here. Ta-da! All right, so now I'm gonna back the camera up a minute, and we're gonna see how the pot hanger works. So I got the top done, and I got the bottom done, and they both did it. It's just the Savage knife took a little bit more effort to do. So we're going to hang it on there, and if you can swing it back and forth gently, then it passes the test. So what I do is I put this on here. Oh, my lid's falling off. You wouldn't want your lid falling off, spilling your food. Alright, so the bottom one works. So now if this thing fits on the dimple we put on the top of the stick, alright, it's a success. That makes me very extremely happy. Alright, now, about the knives. They both pass the test. The Savage knife is a good knife. Okay? The one thing that it excels at, I think, was the feather sticks and the curls. This thing made perfect feather sticks and curls. Perfect. Now, as far as all the other carving tasks, I would say that this won the curl contest without a doubt, because it did the bugle curls, and that's what you want. Rather than the curls, you want the bugle curls. So that one won that contest. Now, as far as the dimpling for a hearthboard, I think they're even. Okay, so that puts this one ahead. Now, when it comes to making notches, the carving and everything, I think the BK06 camp knife excelled at it. So that makes them a dead even. So I don't know, just kind of look at this and see what you think about this, whatever you think the decision is. But these are very good, affordable knives, and they came in razor sharp. And I've bought sheaths before like this that were like $30 to $40. The sheaths are incredible. So, you know, it's almost like getting a big bonus when you buy the knife, getting such an incredible sheath. Because some of the custom knife makers will sell you a knife and you have to buy the sheath separately. But I like both of them. I think they're both winners in my book. So, you know, mystery is solved. I see why everybody was talking about them now, because, you know, they weren't that expensive. I'm not going to call them cheap knives. You know, they're affordable because they're not bad. Because some of that stuff you get that's in this price range, man, some of that stuff like Gerber and Charade, and I mean, I bought a Charade about 6 months ago for $50, and it's an unusable knife. It's horrendous, and I don't remember Charade being that bad in the past. But I don't know, maybe it's because of the new owner. I don't know. So, but anyway, these things are winners in my book. Hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it informative. Look at the BPS site or look on Amazon. They're good knives. I like them. And we shall see you in the next one.